At attention, maggots, and welcome back to TF2 Talk with Gamerman H. Not really going to talk too much before this episode. We did Scout last week, and this week we're going to do Soldier. Let's do it. Class, Soldier. Role, DPS, Tank Busting, DPS Assistance. Special abilities, none. Class importance, medium to high. Skill needed, little. Section 1, Basics. The Soldier is a high DPS causing class that can slow down enemies, wipe out large groups of enemies in 1 or 2 hits, and generally causes hell for the robots that come at you. He is a nigh unstoppable force that will turn the tiny baby robots into shattered pieces of shrapnel and money. The All-American Man of Honor fights with a rocket launcher, meaning splash damage like a fat guy at a pool party. Your main focus will be to hit groups of enemies, damaging and or killing as many of them as you possibly can. You'll also be used to slow down and do good damage on giants using the Rocket Specialist ability, but we'll get more into that later on. The other major responsibility of Asali is to stick to any and all tanks like glue. He is a major part of tank busting and will be invaluable for making sure that the giant blue death machine never gets close to your bomb hole. Aside from those responsibilities, the Sali is also a good class for taking out robots at a distance, namely snipers. If the scout can't get to them for any reason and you don't have a sniper on your team, you'll be in charge of killing them off. It's just how you roll. And a quick reminder, your rockets can hurt you. Just try and keep that in mind. It is an easy mistake to make. Section 2, Loadouts. Unlike last time with the Scout, the Soldier has many more options when it comes to loadouts. Sure, 1 or 2 weapons might be very close to your only options, but there are fringe case alternatives that you can make a pretty good argument for. Let's just get down to it then. Primary weapons. Stock rocket launcher. Nothing is too special about this weapon. Nothing special at all, actually. It has 4 rockets and no special ups or downs. Good choice for both beginners and pros alike. The Black Box. The nerf to 20 HP regain per rocket has seriously hurt this weapon in Man vs. Machine. Let's just add it to the list of weapons that would benefit from different stats in MVM. Shameless TF2 talk drop right there. Anyway, this has 3 rockets, which should be a serious DPS loss early in the game, but you get health on hit. Useful for when you don't have a medic for some reason, the medic doesn't seem to like you enough to heal you, or you're the 2nd or 3rd soldier on the team and are pairing it with the conch. More on that in a bit. The Beggar's Bazooka. Solly mains and longtime MVMers will swear by this weapon. They will tell you to only use it, but I disagree. This is a wonderful weapon and can be a great choice, but it has its downsides. The reason this weapon is so good is that when you get reload and firing rate upgrades full, you can launch a rocket by rapidly clicking the fire button faster than any other launcher, and you don't need to reload it. Great, I hear you say, but the downside is the accuracy. While most people will write it off as being negligible, when firing against crowds of robots, you can't afford to lose your rocket specialist bonus by a rocket straying past a robot and hitting the ground or a wall. So for this weapon, you want to stay close, and that can get you killed very easily. Another major downside to this weapon is that you cannot get ammunition for it from dispensers while it is your currently active weapon. This is just an acquired taste on the weapon, but it is something very important. A great choice, but by no means the only launcher that you should use. And now I will cover a weapon that I see appear quite frequently and really shouldn't be. The direct shit. I mean hit. On paper, this thing sounds good. A bonus DPS for a direct hit, but that loss of splash damage ruins your DPS overall. Do not use this launcher. And of course, we can't forget the best weapon of all of them, the rocket jumper. Secondary weapons. Any of the backpacks. Like any of the backpacks. Whether you choose the buff banner, conjurer, or battalion's backup, all of them will be wonderful choices. While most often the buff banner is the best choice due to MVM being all about that DPS, the other 2 can keep a team alive and or make them more mobile. In the missions where you play more than one Solly, you should definitely have each one choose a different pack. It will help immensely with staying alive and killing the robots. Just remember to use them as soon as they're available for use if you're in a firefight. It'll help you and your teammates, and if you're in a hyperactive situation, you'll get your charge back fast. Also, here's a minor tip for you. If you accidentally used it at the wrong time, just hold your left click. You won't activate the horn until you let go of your mouse. Yay! The Righteous Bison. It can go through robots. Nothing else really special about it, but it can be a decent tank herder once upgraded. People seem to be unsure about if this is a good weapon or not from my experience, so I recommend that you use it at your own discretion. Melee weapons. The disciplinary action. When a problem comes along, you must whip it, soldier. This is usually the choice melee for Sollies that I see playing. Whipping a teammate will give both of you a speed boost. It can come in handy in both retreats and returns to the front if a teleporter is down, or if the teleporter is still up and you're just a kinky soldier. Either works. The escape plan. This is the second choice for Solly in my opinion. Sure, you get less heals from it, but when you're super low on health, you could just run like a scared schoolchild away from all the big bad robots and go hide in a corner. Replenish your health with the Contra Black Box, or just swap weapons and spam E till the medic comes and heals you. That is, unless you get hit with it out. Instant death usually occurs at that point. Use with caution. The Market Gardener. Only useful if you're always rocket jumping. Rocket jumping does a lot of damage to you. Melee puts you in range of easy death in MVM. Don't use this weapon unless trolling or really good with it. And even then, giants are the only real target. The Equalizer. Remember what I just said about CQC being death sentence in this game mode? This weapon makes it even worse by wanting you to be low health already. Do not use. The Half Zatoichi. A penalty for sheathing without killing with it? No thanks. Moving on. If there was a weapon I didn't mention in this list that you thought I should have mentioned, allow me to just tell you that the reason I didn't mention it is because it wasn't worth my time. It was either not good enough to say that it should go up against any of the weapons mentioned, or that it wasn't bad enough to go into the negative weapons that I mentioned. So basically, it's just kind of a middle-of-the-road weapon. I don't recommend using any of the ones I didn't mention, but if you want to, it's not like it's going to be the worst thing you've ever done. Anyway, that was my quick little disclaimer at the end that I didn't put in the script because I realized I needed something like that because people will complain. Thank you, moving on. Section 3. Upgrades. Remember how my scout video left a lot of the upgrades rather vague and said to figure out what you like? The soldier is a little less loose in what he can get away with and not look like a derp. My suggested order would be reload speed and or firing speed for wave 1. You'll want the faster firing and reload. It makes your DPS skyrocket. Especially if you're using the Beggar's Bazooka, you'll want to make sure these are maxed first. Rocket Specialist and damage for waves 2 and 3. Aside from just wanting faster firing, you'll want your rockets to get there faster and do more damage. So as soon as you max out firing and reload, throw some points into these too. Hell, if you haven't even maxed them out yet, throw at least 1 point into Rocket Specialist. It can be a major help to slow down enemies or get that extra no rocket damage fall off. Ammo capacity / clip size. Okay, so I didn't give a wave this one, because if you're using the Beggar's Bazooka, you don't really ever need to increase clip size, as you'll just be spamming one rocket at a time. The ammo capacity upgrade isn't quite as useful if you hug ammo drops or use the dispenser well enough, but if you are using the bazooka, it becomes much more helpful. As I said before, you can't get ammo from the dispenser when it's out. These upgrades should come at your discretion sometime after the reload and firing are maxed and damage and specialist have at least 1 or 2 upgrades in them. Backpack activation time. At any point, if you have some cash laying around, upgrade the time your backpack is active. Saves some possible DPS time by reducing how often you pull the horn out, but with how fast they charge, it isn't exactly a priority upgrade. I'd do these last, to be honest, other than explosions resistance. As a Solly, I can do a decent enough job of dodging damage and staying healed, so I do know it's possible. However, I see a ton of soldiers thinking that dying is some form of side objective for them, so maybe this is more important than I give it credit for. Get this one depending on how good you are at dodging damage. Only you truly know your skill at that. And the explosion resistance, get that if you're doing a lot of rocket jumping or if you see a lot of rockets coming your way, because it does help a little bit. Section 4, map-specific tips. On Manhattan, once again, remember that there are 2 levels to this map, an upper and a lower. The upper will be your friend for rocket spamming from above. Aside from the scout, you have the easiest way of getting up there. Do not forget that you have a rocket jump, and you can rocket jump to help anyone who needs it from the upper level. You can C-tap almost across this entire map. If you do it from the middle to far into the bridge, you'll slam yourself into the big red brick wall. Much easier than a teleporter, right? Have the medic kill you right after and start spamming from the crate you land next to. The stacked crates that offer the highest point on the map are a wonderful spot to attack at a range from. If you have Rocket Specialist and can actually hit your targets, you're safe to just launch ordnance at giants, groups, or anyone else who looks like a rocket to the face would make them have a better day. From up there, you'll not see damage very often. This is really only helpful when the robots are between points A and B, and only a little helpful after they've captured B. So only go here if you have to fall back. Rocket jumping in the hangar far front area at the start of waves can actually get you to the robot upper spawn with a good C-tap. However, rocket jumping in this room can also lead you to smacking your head into the roof, which makes you an insanely easy target for the rapid-fire Sollies. They can even trap you up there and kill you almost instantly if you're near them, so watch out. On Rotenberg, this map also has a lower and upper section. This means check the cliff when you're around the front tower and bridge at mid, and anywhere the robot NGs spawn. You'll be one of the better classes for taking out the groups early and long-range sniping the robo NGs and their nests. And yes, I did just copy and paste the scout one and add a little bit onto it. Also remember that this map is longer, and that means good rocket jumping can be invaluable. A good C-tap can easily get you to the tower in one go, freeing up the teleporter for other teammates if need be. Use the rocks in the front. They will help immensely in dodging explosives. Don't forget that the rocket launcher can fire around corners if you're firing out of the right side. This will keep you alive for a long time, or you can just jump over some of the rocks and fire, which is also a very useful strategy. That last tip also works for the tower walls and other such room-like wall areas scattered around the map. Use them. This map does have meta, where everyone but one NG goes Solly with a different backpack on in the mission known as Bavarian Bot Bash. If you see a bunch of people already Sollys on that mission and there's an NG as well, go Solly and try and choose a good backpack. Trust me, it's easy to do and it really is a lot of fun. Conclusion. The Soldier is a wonderful and reliable DPS class if you can master how well he works. Able to take out huge groups and slow giants to a literal stop, he is quite the force to be reckoned with. Don't let anyone ever tell you otherwise. The Solly is almost always a good choice of class. And with that, you guys are done watching the video and you are now in my end card where you can click on some other videos, so yay you. First off, I'd like to say thank you for watching this, since you've clearly watched it all the way through, unless you come here just for the end cards, that would be weird. So let me just tell you right now, the video on your left is going to take you to the previous episode in this series, how to play Scout on 2 Cities MvM, which will be very similar to this, but not quite as good, I think. The other video on the right is going to be Should MvM Have Entry Requirements, another MvM TF2 talk video of mine that talks about keeping new people out of the game mode until they have at least a little bit of experience in it. So I want you to click on one of those two things, or you can also click on the subscribe button, which is down in the middle of this end card. Clicking on that will subscribe you to the channel, and you already know what that does because I'm the millionth YouTuber to ask you to do that. Rocket jump on over to that like button and smack it so that I can get myself a little bit of a pleasure jerk off tonight as to how many people like the video. And I would like to again thank you for watching and wish that you have a wonderful day.